Russia-Ukraine war live, EU agrees on partial Russian oil ban, Council President announces. The Russian war has now escalated to day 96 with colossal damage to life and property in Ukraine. Heavy shelling continues in Donbass. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky says the situation in East Ukraine is indescribably difficult. Meanwhile, the US is prepared to deliver an additional tranche of weapons to Ukraine. France, Germany urged Russia to agree to a ceasefire over call on Saturday. EU agrees on partial Russian oil ban, Council President announces. The EU's 27-nation group has agreed to an embargo on Russian oil exports, according to the bloc's president. The leaders also decided to remove Sberbank, Russia's largest bank, from the SWIFT system, as well as 3 more Russian state-owned stations from the system. This immediately covers more than 2/3 of oil imports from Russia, cutting a huge source of financing for its war machine, EU Council President Charles Michel. Russia clearly anticipating a worldwide food crisis, claims Zelensky. The Russian blockade of Ukrainian seaports, according to Zelensky, hinders Kyiv from shipping 22 million tons of grain. Zelensky added in his nightly speech that the outcome is the possibility of famine in grain-dependent countries, which might lead to a new migration catastrophe. Zelensky said, "This is something the Russian leadership clearly seeks." He further accused Moscow of deliberately creating this problem so that the whole of Europe struggles and so that Ukraine doesn't earn billions of dollars from its exports. Turkey values efforts to develop safe marine route for agricultural exports, Erdogan. Turkey values efforts to develop a safe marine route for agricultural exports, Turkish president told Zelensky on Monday. According to a Turkish official statement, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan reminded his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky that Ankara places particular importance on attempts to build a safe corridor for exporting Ukrainian agricultural products by sea. Zelensky urges EU to approve sixth package of sanctions against Russia. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky urged the European Union on Monday to set aside internal disagreements and move forward with plans to approve the bloc's proposed sixth package of sanctions. In a speech to EU leaders at the European Council summit in Brussels on Monday, Zelensky urged the bloc to maintain unity in the face of Russian aggression. Zelensky told the summit, "This is time for you to become not separate but one whole." Ukraine has demonstrated why everyone has to be united. "We are all working for one purpose. You have managed to stop the invaders and more unity is the basis of the success. All the disputes within the European Union must stop because they give incentives for Russia to carry on." France demands investigation for the French journalist killed in Ukraine. France demanded an investigation on May 30 after a French journalist was killed in Ukraine when shelling hit the vehicle he was traveling in, which was being used for civilian evacuation near the city of according to his employer, Frederick Leclerc-Imhoff, 32, the latest journalist killed since Russia invaded Ukraine in February, was on his second reporting trip to Ukraine for French television channel. France demands that a probe be carried out as soon as possible and in transparency on the circumstances of this drama, French Foreign Minister Catherine Colonna, who was in Ukraine on May 30, said in a statement. Belarus to begin military exercises near Ukraine's borders in June, report. Belarus is set to begin military exercises near Ukraine's borders in June, Kyiv Independent reported citing officials. Belarusian military official Andrei Krivonosov stated that military exercises will begin on June 22 in the Gomel Oblast, near the Ukrainian border. Kyiv's military victory unlikely if US refuses MLRS, Ukraine official. Ukraine's military victory against Russia is unlikely if US refuses to supply the long-range artillery that will help counter Russia, Alexei Arestovich, a Ukrainian presidential advisor. These weapons, he told the outlet, are essential for fate of Ukraine and its independence. Washington has been considering deliveries of multiple launch rocket systems, MLRS, which can strike targets as far as 300 kilometers, or about 186 miles. U.S. President Biden said that he will not send long-range weaponry that can reach into Russia, in order to avoid risk of direct confrontation. Erdogan ready to organize Russia, Ukraine, UN meeting in Istanbul. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan on Monday spoke with Russian leader Vladimir Putin and said that Ankara is ready to organize a meeting between Russia, Ukraine and the UN, and President Erdogan expressed readiness to organize a meeting in Istanbul between Russia, Ukraine and the United Nations and to take part in a possible monitoring mechanism if both sides reach an agreement in principle, the Turkish president's office told reporters. During the talks, President Erdogan stated the need to establish peace between Russia and Ukraine as soon as possible, as well as to take measures to eliminate the negative consequences of the war and build confidence, the office added. French journalist killed in Ukraine identified as Frédéric Leclerc-Kimhoff. French President Emmanuel Macron on Monday officially identified the journalist that was killed near Severodonetsk as Frédéric Leclerc-Kimhoff. On Twitter, Macron said journalist, Frédéric Leclerc-Kimhoff was in Ukraine to show the reality of the war. On board a humanitarian bus, alongside civilians forced to flee to escape Russian bombs, he was fatally shot. Erdogan agrees to observation mechanism role in talks with Putin. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has agreed to play a role in observation mechanism between Russia and Ukraine and the United Nations during the talks with Putin. Erdogan also pressed for restoration of peace in Ukraine as soon as possible.